how did your lifestyle, when you decided you're going to get better from this cancer, how was that different from before? Because as you say, before, you were already really, really healthy.
Yeah. And that's a question I get a lot. What's the difference between everything you did before and everything you did during to heal yourself? And the best answer I can come up with is compounding. Before, once a year, I would do a 3-day fast. Intermittent fasting pretty much every day. I did some keto when I wanted to get on the cut and get rid of some body fat, but it was not religious. You know, I'm a big pizza fan. I'm a big Italian food fan. So my food was always, my diet was always healthy, never junk food or processed food or anything like that. But it didn't mean I didn't have anything that was a little inflammatory to my body. I practiced Tai Chi, but I was doing it, I don't know, once a week. Meditation, I used to do it every day. And as the time passed, it became once a week or 2 or 3 times a week. And a lot of things that I knew and that I do teach to others, I couldn't, or I thought I couldn't practice them every day. I mean, there's so many hours in a day. And when I was sick, I dedicated my entire time to my healing. And I also recognized that I was in a perfect environment to do what I did. Maybe not everybody can do that. I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. But I was in the perfect environment. I live in the Blue Ridge Mountains in South Carolina. There's no noise, no pollution, nothing around. I have farmers markets, organic farmers markets everywhere around me. My wife and I have been married for 20 years. In 20 years, we never fought. Maybe we fought once at the very beginning. We never argue. We never fight. I don't have money problem. I didn't have to go to work. I was in a perfect condition to rest and meditate on my healing and do what I did. And I had all the time in the world to apply everything that I knew, plus all the new things that I've learned, and do nothing but that every single day. So I compound everything that I knew. So every day I did intermittent fasting. I ate the proper food. We will discuss that later. I did my breathing. I did my meditation. I did my Tai Chi. I did some rebounding on a mini trampoline to boost my lymphatic system. I did everything I could to boost my immune system. I rested a lot. If I was watching a movie, I watched nothing but comedies, nothing stressful, nothing horrible, nothing ugly. Only thing that made me feel good and relax and laugh. And I spent a lot of time with my wife laughing, with my dog playing. So I did everything I could to force my body to heal and to put my body in the perfect condition to heal.
Yeah. Well, let's go through the things that you did. You mentioned intermittent fasting a lot during this conversation. I think it's a term that people can hear and can have different interpretations of what that means. So when you say intermittent fasting, what do you mean by that?
All right. So yeah, as you know, there's many ways of doing intermittent fasting. Some people fast once every other day. Some people fast for 16 hours, 20 hours. So it really depends. For me, according to my research, one of my goals with fasting and intermittent fasting was to keep my insulin as low as possible for as many hours during the day as possible. So I've decided to go with 1 meal a day. I usually ate at night, and my meal was mainly ribeye steak, and butter. So I went I was on the edge of a carnivore, between a ketogenic and a carnivore diet. And the reason was not religious beliefs as far as nutrition comes. It was not something completely written in stone. It was simply because those two things, fat and beef, were the only thing I could take. Everything else, and 5 minutes after my meal, I would be on the floor crying because of the pain. I couldn't have anything with fiber. Fiber would kill me. So no vegetables, no fruits, because I've decided to go with 0 sugar, so not even fruits. And I'm not saying those things are not healthy and good for you, and I have them now again. But at the time, I was on a 0 fiber, 0 sugar diet.
Where was the pain? When you were getting the pain, where was that?
Exactly where the tumor was,
Right.
at the higher part of the rectum and the lower part of the colon.
So anything with fiber, you would suddenly get this excruciating pain.
Oh yeah.
So you then, of course, what you have to do is find nutritious food to eat that's not causing you pain, which sounds completely reasonable, right?
Yeah. So I went on something close to the carnivore diet with beef, but I always went for the highest quality I could afford. So organic, grass-fed, grass-finished, pastured, free-range beef. That's what I go for. I wouldn't have done something like a carnivore/keto diet on low-quality, grain-fed, mass-produced beef. I'm not saying people shouldn't. I mean, everybody does as best as they can according to their finance. But I was lucky enough to be able to afford the best quality beef, and that's what I did. So ribeyes, the perfect combination for me between protein and fat. Organs, especially beef liver and bone broth. Those were my protein fat source. And adding to that, I did a lot of clarified butter, a lot of ghee, olive oil, garlic. Those were basically what I ate at the very beginning. And that really worked for me. After a few months, I've discovered that I could do vegetables in a juice form. So I started juicing. I bought a cold press juicer, and I pressed seasonal vegetables, and that worked also very well for me. So half of my healing period, I did carnivore diet, and the other half, a strict ketogenic diet with meat, organ, bone broth, good fats such as avocado, olive oil, ghee, butter, and some vegetable juice.
Yeah. So can I ask, was the first part of your healing from a dietary standpoint, at least, carnivore, because that was really the only thing that you could tolerate? And so you were forced almost into that route, because who wants to be in pain? Who wants to eat things and make their pain worse, right? So that's completely understandable. And you say along that journey, you discovered that you could tolerate, or you could have vegetable juice. Was that as you were starting to feel better, you were getting less pain? I mean, how did you make that discovery? Was it a bit of trial and error?
No, I was talking to a friend of mine in Paris who's a naturopath, and he told me you should. I know there's pretty much all the micronutrition you need in liver, especially if you can eat it raw, which I did. But you should try to get some veggies in there. Try juicing some very light vegetables, such as cucumber, for example, or celery, something that is not too dense. And I did, and it works very well. And after a while, I discovered another guy on YouTube, and then finally get in touch with him, a French guy. His name is Thierry Casasnovas, and he's a big advocate of juicing. He's not a vegan. He's not into a very specific way of eating, but he advised his followers to add juicing to whatever diet they're on for many health benefits. So between those two persons, I've decided to try the juicing, and it worked. No pain. I felt that I could get tons of micronutrition and antioxidants into my body with that. So I added the juice. After about a month and a half into carnivore, I started to add the vegetable juice, and it worked very well for me.
So you were tolerating the vegetable juice, no pain, but were you starting to feel anything else? A bit more energy, a bit more vitality? I mean, was there anything else that you're starting to notice as you bring in the vegetables?
Yes. And I cannot say for sure that it's the vegetable juice or if it's because I was healing. It's probably a little bit of both. But yes, I felt a little bit more energy when I mixed beef liver, bone broth, and vegetable juice, definitely.
Yeah.
And before I forget, one of the reasons why I'm talking about beef is because anything else than meat was making me feel pain. But when I had pork or chicken or duck, I felt tired. I felt exhausted. It's like my body didn't get enough macro and micronutrition. So continuing my studies, I've discovered the work of Paul Saladino and Sean Baker and all those guys who talk about carnivore. And I've decided to try. And that was a big difference for me. Beef, super high quality beef and beef organs were the answer for me to reduce the pain and to increase my energy level.
Yeah, there's a couple of things to me that come up as I hear you speak. One of them, which comes up really, really strong, is that you were very much in touch with your body, with your feelings, what was working, what wasn't working. Now, yes, you had advanced cancer, you had a very powerful reason to actually become in touch. But zooming out from cancer for a moment, one of the things I observe a lot across society and in my patient population is that a lot of people have just lost touch with, when I eat these sorts of foods, I feel like this. When I have a lot of sugar, I feel tired afterwards. When I don't have breakfast and I have 14 hours between meals, I have more energy. That kind of basic knowledge of what we're doing and how we're feeling, I kind of feel for whatever reason, people are losing the ability to do that, whereas you were totally dialed in with that. So that was the first thing I wanted to comment on. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think my martial art training has a lot to do with that. And I'm 50 years old today. I started martial arts 45 years ago. So that's a long time of practice. I traveled all over the world for martial arts. I lived in Asia for many, many years. I went to China, Japan, the Philippines, Singapore, Indonesia, India. Everywhere I could travel for martial arts, traditional medicine, and Asian spirituality in the world, I went. So I think that really helped me to trust two things: my feeling, my inner feeling, and my intuition. And that really helped me make some decisions for my healing and for the path I was going to follow for my healing.
Yeah.
Even though, like I mentioned before, it was not that easy. That's just an easy way for me to explain what happened, but there was a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'll come back to that. The second thing I wanted to just comment on, and I think as a medical doctor, I have to say this, that what you're describing and the path that you took is certainly not the standard of care. That is not what Western medicine typically would recommend. It's not what most oncologists would advise. Having said that, I think hearing stories like yours, Fred, is really, really important because the medical profession does not know everything. There are countless stories in all kinds of conditions of patients like you deciding to take different routes to the one being prescribed by their doctor. Doesn't mean they always work.
The orthodox path doesn't always work either.
Yeah.
I know many people who've been saved by chemo, and I know many people who died with chemo.
Exactly. I totally agree. And again, this is not pro-Western medicine or anti-Western medicine. This, for me, I want us to have a conversation with you because I find your story incredibly inspirational and I want to unpick it and learn, what did you do, Fred? How did you, in 4 months, from the evidence on the scans, get rid of your cancer? I mean, that is incredible because no one would tell you that. Most doctors would not think that's possible. So, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I'd put that out there because I think it's important to say that. If you enjoyed that clip, here's another powerful clip that I think you are really going to enjoy.
Blood pressure comes down, joints seem to get better, bowel symptoms seem to get better. This is going to keep your eyesight. This is going to keep you from getting dementia, renal disease, peripheral vascular disease, and cancers. You are not your habits. You can do it.